Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. In today's video, I will be sharing with you 5 books that actually scared me. We're officially about a week away from Halloween and I have bittersweet feelings about it. I'm excited that Halloween is almost here. I'm excited for Halloween weekend. But at the same time, I'm sad that October's almost gone and that spooky season will kind of be over at that point. So I'm trying to see if I can bring you the most amount of spooky content within this week and a half. And today I wanted to explore a little bit the concept of fear. And as a seasoned horror reader, I find that a lot of the books that I read that are marketed horror don't really scare me. I watch a lot of horror movies, they don't really scare me either. Obviously, if there's a jump scare, I might jump, right? But it's not anything that's super scary or that I feel like I can't sleep after I have watched it or read it. So, whenever I have experienced a fear with a book, that's been like a big deal for me simply because it doesn't happen often, right? And I do love that feeling of reading something that's scary or that makes me feel scared, but knowing I'm perfectly safe within the comforts of my home, right? So I think that's why most of us look at horror as a genre that we enjoy. We love watching scary movies underneath a blanket while eating our popcorn in front of our TVs, right? Like there's just something comforting about that. So in thinking to prepare this list, I went through all of the horror books, the scary books that I've read, and I picked 5 books that actually had scenes that frightened me or that made me feel scared or that I had to put the book down to read it a little bit later. Granted, we have to think that not all of us are scared by the same things. Some of us have some visceral reactions to certain things and others don't. And in looking at my list of the 5 books and trying to see what they all had in common, because that's what I was kind of trying to do for this video, trying to see if I could find what these books had in common, because then I'd be able to arrive at what actually makes me scared, right? What produces fear in me. And all of these books, I think I can safely say, are unsettling. And I think that's the word that I want to go with. They all have moments or scenes that I found particularly unsettling. And I find that what produced those moments of feeling unsettled is something very specific. And I'm going to try my hardest to describe it to you, and then I'm going to give you examples with the books. But it basically is moments where something's off. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. Like in these books, the moments that I felt fear were moments where something happened in the book that felt off. Like there was something eerily off about the situation. And I know I keep repeating that, but I'm trying to see if I can articulate it in a better way. It's kind of when you know something is wrong or you feel scared but you can't exactly put your finger on what it is. And I guess that's what I find very scary when things happen in books that are slightly off, like something has shifted or we're in the precipice of something terrible happening, but we really don't know what it is, right? So it could be that a person just looks a little different, or a look they give you, or um a change in something, right? And that's what makes me scared. That's I think what all of these books have in common, moments that I found unsettling. So without further ado, now that I've talked about this for about 5 minutes, I'm going to share with you those books. And I particularly like going into horror blindly. I like experiencing that I don't know what this is, let me try to figure it out, because it adds to my confusion. It adds to my inability to know what it is, to not figure things out. So I like that because that makes it scarier for me. So I'm basically going to pitch these books to you in like a very short summary. I'm going to tell you what they're about without giving you a lot of details, but I will tell you, like, for each of them, what those moments of unsettlement kind of were for me. So, yeah, I'm ready to start. Here we go. So, the first book that I want to share with you that made me feel scared is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. So, this book, I'll tell you again the premise in one or two words. We are following two women who meet online in some sort of chat room, and they develop a relationship with each other. And it is a pretty controlling kind of relationship where one is controlling the other. And that's really all I'm going to tell you about that. But the feelings of uncertainty or unsettling here is that we are able to see how one of the characters is so easily able to control and manipulate the other character, and not, as a reader you can't do anything to prevent this from happening. It's kind of like unfolding in your eyes, and you know where this is going, and it's like that moment when you know everything is gonna wrong is gonna happen, but you can't do anything about it. That's exactly what this book is like. Yes, this book is gory. Yes, this book has very descriptive, painful, gross things. But for me, those were not necessarily the scary parts. The scary parts were the thought of the extent of what humans are willing to do, or what they're willing to go through, and the questioning of why. Like, why are these people behaving this way, or what causes a person to do something like this? That is truly what I found so unsettling about this book. So the next book on my list is Penpal by Dathan Auerbach. And this is incredibly unsettling. So, to tell you very quickly, we in this book are following a man who is sharing his memories with us of a very strange incident that happened to him in his childhood involving an activity that he did in school where they were trying to find pen pals out in the world, and what happens as a result of that. That's what this book is about. The source of unsettlement here, or what I find scary about this book, is this feeling of being watched or being observed, or knowing deep inside that something is wrong and you can't prevent it from happening, or you can't run away, or you cannot hide, if you will. And that is what I found to be so scary about Penpal. And the fact that it's told from the present day with the recollections of the past, that makes everything a little bit more gray because we lack the specificity of the details because it's now a memory. I think that kind of builds to that. And it has like some very, very creepy kind of you're not alone, you're being watched kind of vibes. And I found that to be incredibly unsettling. The next book on this list is Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. And in this, we are following a couple who has been married for a while, and they're going to this cabin in the middle of the woods to celebrate their anniversary and just kind of get away. And that's the premise basically of this, right? So, what I found unsettling about this is that aspect of when a person you're very close to or you love changes in a particular way, there is like a change in them. That is very unsettling to me, to think that why are you different? Like, why are you saying that, or why are you acting strange? And not being able to understand why that is, I think is incredibly scary. And in this, there's the scene with like a parrot that I found to be so, so scary, because more than the fear of like the unknown, the fear of what we do know changing or being off from what we expect it to be or we know it to be is precisely what I find the scariest. And this has quite a few scenes that don't have an explanation or are very vague in their explanation. So we are searching for answers that we don't have. And so that makes it feel like something is off and we don't really know exactly what is wrong. The next book on this list is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. And I have mentioned this before in my channel as being incredibly scary for me. The premise of this book is that there is a couple that is going to, they're heading home on a road trip in inclement weather, and they're going together back home so that she can meet his family, his parents. And this is pretty much that journey there. And we're in the characters' heads a lot, and we're getting like their feelings and their thoughts about what's going on, about the dynamic between their relationship, and ultimately of this journey that they're both going on. And this had some very, very unsettling scenes. For some reason, that feeling, that unsettling feeling, lasts the entire book. At least it did for me, which is why I think this is one of the scariest books that I've read, because the entire time we feel something is wrong. Like, we know something is off, but we cannot guess what it is. We have no proof, no evidence, no inkling of exactly what it is, but it's just like everywhere. And it's that feeling of not being able to put your finger on it that is so unsettling. And I will tell you, there is one particular scene that I just had to stop reading it. Like, when I was reading this in that moment, I had to stop because I was so unsettled that I was feeling anxiety, like reading this. And that was such a strange feeling for me because I have never experienced that while reading a book. And this book made me feel that. I couldn't continue because I needed to know what it was. And I was just like, okay, this is not going to tell me what it is. And it was still, I want to say, like, a good chunk away from the ending. And it was late at night. I knew I could not finish it that night. So I said, I am stopping here because if this feeling continues, I don't think I can take this. Like, I just needed to know what it was. Like, I just wanted something to tell me this is what it is. Like, this is what is wrong, or this is what's off, because I could not continue with that feeling. So the fact that the author was able to do that is just brilliant for me. Like, I think that is one of the most intense feelings for a reader, for you as a reader to feel that way. Like, if a writer is able to do that with a book, I think it's incredible. And if you even look at this cover, right, with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and how that's scratched off in red, but then it's repeated at the bottom, I find that unsettling. Like, I want to know, like, who scratched it off, why, like, so this whole book is like that. This whole book, you're trying to figure out, why do we feel like things are off? And in the long car rides, we feel it. We also feel this once they arrive at the family members' homes. We know we know everything is off, but we can't exactly say one thing is off. Like, it's just, you feel this incredible sense of dread. Like, there, it's just dread. And I think this book did it beautifully. And the last book on my list is probably the most recent read for me. This is the most recent of all of them that I have read, and it is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Clewer. This, just like I'm Thinking of Ending Things, also has the feeling of being unsettled the entire book. So it's something that permeates throughout. This, just like Stolen Tongues, has scenes where the characters are not behaving like themselves, and I find that incredibly unsettling. And first, let me pitch you the premise. So in this, we are following a couple that they flip homes. They buy these houses and they flip them. Um, so they are currently living in their new house that they have just purchased, and this family knocks on their door randomly. It's inclement weather. Uh, one of the partners is not home yet, so one of them is alone, and she's, having to open the door to these strangers that are knocking. And basically, the strangers are saying that they've lived in that house before, and they wanted to walk through the house and share the house with their children so their children could see what the house was like and all of that. So that's really all I'm going to tell you. But this also has so many scenes that you feel dread, that you feel anxiety, that you don't know what is happening. And that really permeates throughout. Like, this is something that even to the ending, we are still left with that feeling. So that's something that, if you don't really like things being kind of in the open or not having like super concrete answers, then this one might not be for you. But I found that in particular is what I loved about this book, and I felt was so unsettling about this book. And I just think of certain scenes and I feel fear again. And this one made me feel fear and got me very invested in wanting to do more. Like, this was like a rabbit hole for me. I read it and I started doing research after I finished it, and I couldn't get enough, and I was looking in forums and I was looking stuff up because I just had to know. So I developed this like obsession with this book. And I think that's also very scary, books that haunt you after, long after you're done with them. I find that that is such a incredible talent on the author's part to be able to make you feel that way. And yeah, that's the fifth book on this list. And this is pretty much it for me, guys. These are the 5 books that have actually made me scared, have made me feel uh dread, anxiety, unsettlement, fear, whatever you want to call it. And I really recommend all of these if you are also afraid of those kinds of feelings. So if these things produce fear in you, I think you will really enjoy these. And that's my recommendation for the 5 books that actually scared me. Have you read any of these books? Did they produce similar feelings in you? Are there any other books that you feel are very unsettling? Recommend them to me, please, because it's hard for me to find a book that scares me. I mean, this list is only 5 books long, right? So if you have any recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. I hope you're having a fantastic spooky season. I hope you're reading lots of scary books if that's what you like. And I will definitely make sure I give you more content before spooky season is officially over. So if you like this video, please consider liking it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I look forward to talking to you in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Have a good one, guys. Bye.